Tucker Carlson on the Joe Rogan Experience. There were wild conspiracies flying when the episode itself was posted.
Oh, that's right.
Why doesn't it have enough views? What's going on there? Well, it's got several million views now, so everybody can relax. In general, just so people know who don't have YouTube channels, in the first 24 hours, it will often be much less publicly than what it actually is on the back end. I'm not really sure why they do that, but just so people understand, that's what it is. After around 24 hours or so, you can go and check, and you will see the actual number. But that belies what's actually important. There were some ideological disagreements that were made on the show, where Tucker in particular echoed some of the things that he talked about previously whenever I interviewed him before about free speech hypocrites in the alternative media space. He names and shames Bari Weiss and then also heavily implies Ben Shapiro as well. Let's take a listen.
If you hear someone talk that's saying something that's kind of horseshit, it resonates with you that's what you've seen.
You had a moment
before.
with Bari Weiss on your show that went everywhere. I saw a clip of it. I never saw the show itself, but she was going on about. So she was posing as one thing, and then you pressed her. You're like, well, hold on a second. What do you mean by that? You just attacked somebody, and she had no idea what she was talking about. And it became really clear to me watching it. That completely changed my view of Bari Weiss forever. I was like, oh, she's a fraud, actually. This person's not honest at all. Like, she has a very specific agenda. That's all she cares about. The rest of this stuff is just a kind of sleight of hand maneuver.
You're talking about the thing with Tulsi Gabbard?
That's correct.
Yeah, she called her a toady, and she didn't know what that meant.
Well, but she had no idea. Like, Tulsi Gabbard had straight outside the lines on some Syria or something. And Bari Weiss was, going through the files in her head, like, what does she have to believe? And she was aware that, Tulsi Gabbard had somehow violated that in a way that no one's willing to say, like, in detail to fully articulate. What did Tulsi Gabbard do wrong? No one will tell you. She's just bad.
But I think
it's important to be honest about what your agenda is.
I think she is honest. I think she is honest, and I really like her.
Yeah.
I like talking to her.
Against,
She's a very intelligent
person.
person.
Not against her personally.
I just think that was a mistake. And I think you're allowed to do that and hopefully learn from that.
If your agenda is neocon politics, which is her agenda, just say so. Don't pretend to be a defender of free speech as a principle, which is what she does.
How is she a defender of neocon politics?
Bari Weiss?
Yeah, like what specifically?
Well, anyone, including me and Tulsi Gabbard, who thinks that America shouldn't be funding wars that don't help America, she will attack.
Yeah, I mean, that's empirically true. I'm on Bari's feed literally, right? And listen, I have nothing personal against Bari Weiss. We've only ever been cordial. This is purely a professional disagreement. Let's put all that out there. But I'm on Bari's feed, and everything is about individual students getting attacked for example, headline at the Free Press, I was stabbed in the eye at Yale because I am a Jew. And then I continue to scroll past, and I see multiple retweets of like a panic going on, anti-free speech that's happening at Columbia University. If I continue to scroll and look at the Free Press, I see articles that are justifying more aid to Ukraine, more aid to Israel. But really what gave away the game to me, and this is actually just pure 100% proof, is that Bari did an event in Israel with a guy named Natan Sharansky. Now, most of you probably don't know who that is. Sharansky is an Israeli politician and a father of neoconservative ideology. His book was chiefly responsible for George W. Bush's second inaugural address and the freedom agenda about spreading democracy to Iraq. So if you are doing an event with the father of the freedom agenda from Iraq, you are a neocon, 100%. And she did that unironically in Israel. And then also while there was posting videos like, this is what it's like to be under attack, while we're in Israel. People were like, yeah, what about a couple miles away over there in Gaza? Like, I'm not justifying the attack, but I'm just like, come on, let's chill here a little bit on the propaganda. So look, with all due respect to our friend Joe Rogan, I do think Bari is an absolutely unreconstructed neoconservative, a hypocrite whenever it comes to free speech, as Tucker correctly was calling out there. And he wasn't just talking about her. He was also talking about Ben Shapiro, because both of those individuals raised, and let's be honest, monetarily became multimillionaires speaking out against free speech, hypocrisy, and all that. And it's very easy, to attack the left. We'll do it here anytime if we see hypocrisy as well. But, whenever it comes to an issue there where they have a deep emotional and religious attachment, then all of a sudden all that stuff gets thrown right out the window.
Listen, part of Joe's charm is that he sees the best in the people that are sitting across from him. That includes Bari Weiss. So we'll put him aside. In terms of the commentary, you know, the free speech part with Bari, it's so blatant because, you know, when she was a college student, she was engaged in some of these activist efforts to get Muslim professors who she found to be saying things she didn't like canceled. Now, she claimed once she entered her quote-unquote free speech era that, oh, I was a college student and people gave her a pass. So, okay, fine, you're a college student. People, you know, make mistakes and they change and they grow, et cetera, et cetera. But the minute it came to Israel, suddenly she is the biggest cancel culture proponent that you could possibly imagine. I mean, that is what her entire Twitter feed is at this point. And it's not surprising that this tactic is being used to smear an entire protest movement and an entire cause, because we see this playing out throughout history. It's easier to, you know, find the asshole in the movement, use that person to smear the entire movement, and then use that smearing of the movement to delegitimize the cause. And at this point, if you're an Israel supporter, that is a lot easier than actually out and out justifying what Israel is doing in Palestine day after day. It is a lot easier than out and out trying to argue that us continuing to support them as they, you know, risk sending the world catastrophically into World War III is somehow in American interest. So it's, you know, it's a cheap and easy playbook that we see throughout history. And yeah, she was happy to ditch the free speech language the minute that it became inconvenient for her after she built an entire media empire off of it. So, I mean, that's just the reality.
Look, you believe what you want, okay? It's a free country. If you want to be rabidly pro-Israel, cool. You want to cancel people who are Palestinian activists while you're in college and then apologize for it, which is what she did. Objectively, she came out and said that she regretted her past in that. I will take you at your word. But then if you're immediately going to regress back to that same behavior, then I'm not going to take you at your word. I'm going to say that you are a giant hypocrite. And that's the same problem I have with Ben Shapiro. Again, a man who I have only ever had good personal interaction with, but this is a professional and a principal disagreement about what we view as important and what we view as actually whether you're standing up for what you said you believe in or not. And I think I'm glad that Tucker said that. I would hope, that Joe would maybe take a look at some other free press articles that are out there, because I do think it's very important. There were also some allegations that Tucker made about blackmail and members of Congress, according to him, that he's seen from the intelligence community. Let's take a listen.
By the way, whatever. That's all I'll say.
By the way.
No, I mean, people don't say that because they're worried about getting punished. They're worried about someone putting kiddie porn on their computer.
Right.
Members of Congress are terrified of the intel agencies. I'm not guessing at that. They've told me that, including people on the intel committee, including people who run the intel committee, the people whose job it is to oversee and keep in line these enormous, secretive agencies whose budgets we can't even know. They're black budgets. They're the parents. The agencies are the children. They're afraid of the agencies. That's not compatible with democracy.
Interesting. Alleging there that they'll put kiddie porn on your... I mean, listen, it's certainly possible. The broader thing, I definitely 100% agree with. Glenn always loves to play that clip of Chuck Schumer from 2017 whenever he's like, Trump shouldn't mess with the intel agencies and the CIA because they can really make life hard for you. And you're like, wait, what? It's like your job is to oversee the CIA. Are you saying that there's the opposite? And I mean, considering what happened with Mike Johnson, where you have a guy who voted against Ukraine aid, spoke out against Ukraine aid, became president, and then literally said because of the intel that he decided to flip and become Winston Churchill, and he preyed on all of that. I am not going to rule out blackmail, Krystal, in terms of this Mike Johnson.
Remember the Russian space nuke
I'm just saying.
situation when they were trying to get the FISA thing through? Listen, the kiddie porn thing, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. No evidence presented. In addition, this does kind of give a pass to how any member of Congress in the future ends up with kiddie porn on their laptop to be like, it wasn't me, it was the intel committees. It's just because I'm such a warrior for truth that they're coming after me, whatever. Look at what Tucker had to say about it. It's all out there in the open, so I don't love those comments. Certainly in terms, the thing is that many of these conspiracies are out in the open. Like we were discussing before, we know the way that they rolled Obama. We know, Trump was easily manipulated. Mike Johnson publicly admitted that he was emotionally manipulated by them into completely changing his previously held multiple positions. So, I mean, that part of it is just like, it's not even conspiracy. That's just an undeniable fact about the way that they operate. And they can threaten to leak to the press. And there's any number of stenographers out there who print whatever they want to print, and they can ruin you. And these politicians know they can ruin you. You add to that then, you know, the amount of money coming in, not only through the Israel lobby, but also critically across every issue from the military-industrial complex. The defense industry is one of the largest funders of political campaigns. And you see how you end up with the results that we have, which are directly contrary to actual democracy and actual will of the people, which is why over and over and over again, you see these things only go in one direction.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.